Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and in this video I want to talk to you about how to successfully work from home. So I got 3 tips that I really think is going to change the game and help you get more done while you work from home. Now, working from home is kind of like the holy grail for a lot of people. It's like you've wanted to not have to, do that hour-long commute, drive in traffic, go to the office, all that stuff. And so the holy grail, you finally get a position where you can work from home, or maybe you're running a business from home, but guess what? Then you discover that it's actually really hard. There's all these distractions. How do you separate work from life? It all starts to blend together. Now you're just stressed. Your computer's just within arm's reach all day, all night, all the time. Maybe it's a little bit difficult to kind of separate between work and home. All those things can make it difficult, not only in the long term, but also in that first month or that first 3 months. I found, at least for me personally, that it can take a while to get up to speed and take a while to really get used to it. So my goal in this video is to shortcut that process. I've been working from home for years now, and I feel like I've slowly learned a lot of things over that time that make the process easier. So I'm going to really break it into 3 buckets that I think will be helpful so that you can successfully work from home. So bucket number 1 is the ultimate office setup. And I'm going to walk through what that looks like. Bucket number 2, in that part, we're going to talk about how to avoid distractions and set boundaries when you work from home. And then number 3, we're going to talk about how to create an office setup that helps you travel and that travels with you, obviously, because one of the big benefits of working from home is that you can travel and you can really work from anywhere. So how do you make sure that you are productive while working when you're traveling and you have kind of like an optimized setup there so that you can still get work done, but then also have a lot of fun. Enjoy the time in whatever location that you're at. So first things first, the ultimate office setup. I've put a lot of work into mine, and I've got a lot of recommendations that I think you'll find helpful. Now, it starts with what you're working with, right? What's your workspace? And there's a few key things that I have and that I think are essential. Now, before we even get to the nuts and bolts of what's here, you need to have good Wi-Fi. So if you're working from home, I'm amazed at how many people just have crappy Wi-Fi. You're probably gonna have to be on video conference calls. You're gonna have to be on internet for a bunch of different things. So you need to make sure that you have a good Wi-Fi. That's kind of the operating system. It's second only to your computer. You need to have a good computer and you need to have good Wi-Fi. Now, in another video called Sharpen the Saw, I talk about the importance of having a good computer and how, if you're a carpenter, you would have good tools. When you work from home, your main tool is your computer. So just like having a sharp axe that cuts the tree down or whatever you're trying to do, having a good computer and good Wi-Fi they're the 2 most important things. Then you can build on top of that for your office setup. Now, in addition to good Wi-Fi and a good computer, I've got a few critical things. So number 1, stand-up desk. This is a game changer. This thing goes up and down. I've got a little button over here, so you can get one for I think $300 or $400 at IKEA. There's also Veridesk. There's a bunch of different brands that are popping up. So for anywhere from maybe $300 on the low end to $700 to $1,000 on the higher end, you can get a really quality stand-up desk. Now, if you're on a budget, you can also get something that pops up from your desk. I don't necessarily recommend that as much. I haven't had as much success with it. I love the electric because I can go up, down, up, down, up, down all day. Now, this really helps with your back. I know for me, my back can get jacked up just working in a chair all day. So it helps. I stand up for all of my meetings, and then I sit down and stand up and kind of rotate throughout the rest of my day. It's very easy to do so with this setup. Now, in addition to a stand-up desk, you need a really good chair. Don't just buy like a $20 chair from IKEA that's hard as a brick. Don't have a chair that's at your kitchen table that the desk is up here and your chair's here and you're like this all hunched over, because you need to have good posture. And what you'll find is that if you don't do it up front, over time, it's going to wear you down. So your neck will start hurting. You might start getting a little bit of carpal tunnel because you're cramped up on your laptop. You're shrugging your shoulders. You're shrinking down. All those things, right, really hurt your energy level throughout the day. So you need to have a good chair. Now, this is a Herman Miller chair. Maybe you can see the back of it just a little bit. This is one of the most expensive chairs on the market, and I don't like it because it's expensive. I like it because it's a great chair. So I think it's about $1,200. So I realize for a lot of folks that's probably out of your budget. But find the best chair that you can. And one tip that I learned recently is everybody needs to have a chair guy, apparently. So my friend told me about this where I live in San Francisco, which, there's companies going out of business all the time. So there's this whole business of reselling office furniture. And so oftentimes, like this Herman Miller chair, I think it is, it's like retails for $1,200. There's all these different settings. I can adjust the back pressure. I can adjust the height, the everything on it. But I think I got it for $500 from a chair guy. So secondhand, right? So you don't have to get it brand new. You can go secondhand and still get a really high quality chair that doesn't break the bank. Okay, so we got a great stand-up desk. We got a great chair. Now, in addition to that, for me personally, a couple other critical pieces are, number one, a wireless mouse. This is important because if you just are using your computer, you're hunched up like this all day. This helps you pull back and have something wireless. Now, in addition to that, I've got a wireless keyboard that I use. So a wireless keyboard, mouse, and as you'll see, a laptop stand here, which elevates my laptop, now allows me to pull down my stand-up desk. And so I've kind of got, it's kind of funky here, but I'm able to reduce my shoulders. So now I'm not shrugging my shoulders. I've got a 90-degree angle in my elbow. I've got my mouse here. I've got my keyboard here. And by elevating my laptop, now my neck is actually up. So I'm in a great position. It's a spine neutral position for all my chiropractors and PTs out there. And so now I'm able to productively work without wearing down my body over time. Okay, so these are a couple key things that I have. Now, in addition to that, for me personally, I like having a dual monitor setup. So you'll notice that I've got my laptop here. I've got two monitors. It easily sets up through these cords and that sort of thing. It's attached to my desk. So even as I go up and down with my stand-up desk all day, I can see what's going on here. I've got these different laptops or these different screens that I'm able to work from. So this I found is really effective for me because you're just able to cover a lot more ground. And sometimes when you have that little bitty laptop, you can't fit everything you want. And so I'm able to kind of move around. And a lot of times I'll have, for me personally, Spotify on this one. I'll have my Google Calendar over here and I'll have what I'm working on right in front of me. So I'm listening to music, I see what's coming up with meetings, and then I can drag stuff out and I can work from these different screens that I got going here. Now, in addition to these things, the ultimate office setup I found is you need to have natural light. So as much as possible, and I know you can't necessarily you can't reinvent your house, right? But if there's a room in your house with natural light, that's going to be the best place to put your office. Because if you're just in fluorescent lighting all day, it's going to really wear you down. So my preference for me personally is not only do I want to have windows, but in my ideal world, I want to have my desk in front of the window. Because then what's happening is I'm able to look outside and see light and kind of see what's going on. Also, I record a lot of videos and I do a lot of video conference calls. So there's natural lighting on my face, which makes for lighting better. But then the only downside, so for me in this room, I wasn't able to set that up just because the way the layout is. But if I was able to, the ideal scenario would have, I would have light in my face and then the background. You just have to be cognizant of your background. What's in the background? Do you want your coworkers or the videos or whatever that you're recording to have that in the background? So you kind of adjust your office setup based on that. Now, speaking of offices, it's really important whenever possible to have an office that's not your bedroom. As you can imagine, you're spending, 8, 10, 12, 15 hours a day in this office. And it's really tough to have your office be your bedroom because now you're spending basically 20 whatever hours a day in this same room, and it can kind of feel claustrophobic. And one of the biggest things that I'm trying to create in my work from home environment is I want to go to the office, right? So I want to walk to my office, have a place where I work, and then have a place where I relax and have a place where I sleep. Now, the last thing in terms of a great office setup is I like to have my goals or my vision board in front of my workspace. So if you've got a wall or a window, you can put that stuff there. And I've just found that when I'm able to look up from my work and I see my goals for the month, or I see my vision board, or I see things like that, it inspires me. And then I look right back down and I'm on my laptop and I'm working and I'm inspired again. right? So I've got another video that talks about goal setting, monthly, yearly, daily, stuff like that. You can check that out, and I break down kind of that process, but I like to have my monthly goals in front of me on a whiteboard or something like that if possible, okay? So that's number one. That's the ultimate office setup. Let's transition into number two. So here we're gonna talk about how to eliminate distractions and to set boundaries. Now, one of the most difficult things that you'll probably find when you start working from home is eliminating all the distractions that surround your home, or setting boundaries with your friends, family members, significant others, your kids, all those things, right? So depending on, kind of your personal situation, this is gonna look very different. So maybe you're married, maybe you're married with kids, maybe you're single, maybe you're dating. And so any number of those things, maybe you're living at home still, any number of those things kind of brings unique distractions. So one of the things I found right up front is to set as many boundaries as possible so that you just have a safe work environment. Because I think what you'll find, at least what I found, is a lot of times when you work from home, people don't respect that you are working. They don't treat it as if it's an office. Like someone wouldn't just unannounced show up to your corporate office and say, hey, I need something. Can you just step away for a half an hour? But for some reason they do that when you work from home, right? So you just got to make sure that those boundaries are set up. Now, one of the ways that I do that just personally and internally, and then I'll kind of go into how do you set boundaries with the people around you, the people that you love. One of the ways I do that internally, like I already mentioned, is I wear work clothes. So I've just found for me personally, and I've got another video on morning routines where I talk about how that's important. But I transition into my work clothes. So I put on my work clothes and then go to work. But now on the flip side, I take off my work clothes and put on lounge clothes at the end of the day. And that kind of signals to my brain, hey, we've stopped working, right? So I've got my office. I leave the office. I put on lounge clothes, and then I close the laptop, and that's done. Right? Because what you've probably found if you work from home for any period of time, or what you'll find if you do, is that it's easy to say, cool, let me take this laptop with me, and while I'm watching TV, I'm still doing work. While I'm with the kids or with the family outside, I'm still doing work. And that's just really unhealthy. You got to have a firm stop and a firm start so that you can just refresh and reset your brain. Because if you're halfway working all the time, then you're really not working, but you're also not resting, so you don't feel rejuvenated. So you got to kind of set some personal boundaries and some work-life boundaries for yourself. But on the flip side, you got to set boundaries with the people that you love. So there's a couple things that I like to do here. I already mentioned I like to have an office, but then even just closing the door and having a sign that's okay to come in or do not disturb, so that people know when it's safe to come in. Also, I like to just have a conversation with the people that I love when I first start working from home. This is one of the biggest mistakes I feel like I made that I would recommend that you don't make, is say, okay, I'm gonna start working from home. Here's what that means. From the hours of 8 to 5, I can't be disturbed. Or maybe it's from 8 to 12, no matter what, don't come into my office or don't ask for anything. The afternoon is more flexible, and I'm gonna take lunch from this time to this time, so I'm totally free to do, to hang out with you, with the kids, with your significant other. Maybe they can come over. Just setting some parameters, setting some boundaries around that, which I know can be really difficult if you have kids, but trying to set up some semblance of boundaries so that people don't kind of come in and disrupt your workplace. Now, speaking of kids, one of the things, I've got a lot of friends that have kids. I don't have kids personally, but I've got a lot of friends that have kids and work from home. And a couple things that they found helpful is either having an office that's detached from the house, or that's just locked so the kids can't get in, or maybe even having an office down the street, so then I guess you're not working from home. But one of the things that a friend of mine, Josh Ship, he does really well is he gets up super early, so before the kids are up, and then he has a do not disturb time. I think it's up until 11 a.m. or something like that. And so his wife knows, his kids knows, hey, no matter what, I just can't be disturbed. The kids can't come in. No one can come in during these times. But then what he does, and I think is really cool, he's able to end work by, I think it's 1 p.m. every single day. And so that's kind of, they've had this conversation where they say, hey, I commit to ending work at X time and being fully present with you guys and not, blurring all these boundaries and stuff and spending time with you guys. If you guys will also commit to just make sure that while I am working, I'm not disturbed. So there's just very firm boundaries, and doing so is able to, it creates a win-win for everybody, right? You're off and you're with your family. minus the commute of having to go to office, and then they're not disturbing you when you're trying to get real and meaningful work done. So that kind of creates some boundaries there, which I've found to just be really, really helpful. Now, the last thing is that you'll find, especially with friends, family members, and people that love you and that are well-intentioned, is they'll just try to plan things with you in the middle of your workday. This is probably the biggest surprise for me, is I'd go home and I'd work from home for a week, and my friends or family members or whatever, they'd say, hey, will you work from home? It's fine. You know, let's just go do something. It's like at noon for 3 hours, or like, let's just go, you can just take the day off. What does it matter? You work from home, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you control your own schedule. It's like, you're the boss. You can just take time off. And so then they would try to guilt trip me for saying no to hanging out with them during the day. And that was really frustrating because I'm over here, I'm thinking, wow, I'm trying to grow this business. I'm broke right now because I'm trying to get this business off the ground, but I'm feeling like this external pressure, and like they're making it as if I'm choosing not to hang out with them, and they're like guilting me. So what I found that works just really well is just having, a difficult conversation early on and just setting those boundaries. We say, hey, I understand that it may look as if I don't do any work, or you don't know what I do. I'm just working on the internet, or doing this online business thing or that sort of thing. But I have to get work done, and this is something that's important to me. So I would just appreciate it if here's the boundaries and things like that. I'm happy to hang out with you, but I would just appreciate it if you don't guilt me into doing that, or just be respectful of my schedule. Because just like someone who has a job is going to an office, I have an office that just happens to be at home, right? So having that frank, candid conversation up front will save you a lot of difficult conversations on the long term, or worse, will save you from feeling obligated to say yes, saying yes, and not being able to get the work that you want to get done. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is how to create a workplace that travels with you. So obviously one of the biggest benefits of working from home is that you can travel, and I can work from anywhere. So work from home really means work from the Airbnb that I'm at when I'm on vacation, or I can take more vacations. I can travel home and to South Carolina, and I can hang out with my family, but also get some work done, which is really cool. And I try to set good boundaries around that, of course, too. So I don't just take it with me and work during all my vacations, but it does allow me to take additional vacations that I wouldn't be able to otherwise take. Now, the key here is just having a flexible workplace. So there's only a couple things that I'll take with me. I'll take my laptop, I'll take my wireless keyboard, I'll obviously take my headphones, things like that, and that allows me to kind of transition. Now also I realize that some people are more creative, and you want to be able to like move amongst your house throughout the day. Maybe have one room that's for creativity, one room that's for meetings, stuff like that. So it's just important to have kind of like a little flexible work setup that you can take with you. And so not only does it allow you to travel more, but it also allows you to kind of move throughout your house. And for me personally, it's just the external mouse, because that helps keep from bunching up everything on the computer and stuff like that. And it also allows me to travel. Now on that note, I've got a travel backpack, and this is really helpful because it has a couple key pockets. So there's a pocket for phone chargers, for my water bottle, for my laptop, for my earbuds, for all these kind of important things that I just know the ease of travel, because I travel a lot and I'm able to work from a bunch of different places. That really helps to make sure I always have my ideal setup with me. And at the drop of a hat, I can get some work done, get the important work done that I want to get done, and then I can go on with whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm traveling for. So whether that's speaking or whether that's vacations or things like that. So there you have it. There's the ultimate work from home setup. I hope that you found this helpful. Like I said, this is the kind of things that I learned the hard way over years of doing this, and hopefully this will save you some frustration, save you some difficult conversations, and help you kind of have the ultimate setup from the start. So I'll just recap the 3 things that we covered. We talked about the ultimate office setup and how you can set this up for you. Don't forget the stand-up desk. This is a total game changer. And then secondly, we talked about how to avoid distractions and set boundaries with your friends, family members, and people that you love. And then thirdly, we talked about how to create a setup that can travel with you or move throughout your house. So like I said, I hope that you found this video helpful. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Are there any parts of this that you do, or that are new, or that you heard that you really liked, or any thoughts that you have? What works for you when you work from home? Comment below and let me know that. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.